Hello there, it's midday. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro Television. We're coming to you live from our studios at Northridge in Accra. My name is Desmond Okrepidanzi. Let's take a look at our headlines. And controversial LGBTQ billboard erected on the streets of Accra sparks anger among the anti-LGBT campaigners, with some threatening to pull it down in 24 hours. We'll bring you details on that. And also coming up, confusion erupts between supporters of former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and some NDC national executives over the implementation of the Ahotop project. And on the international front, we get to the United States of America, where the House of Representatives have voted through a series of measures regulating the use of guns. These and many more stories coming up in this bulletin. And we are streaming across all our social media platforms, and also you can watch us on DSTV channel 277. Now let's begin with our first story, where sponsors of the controversial anti-LGBTQ+ bill are demanding the Inspector General of Police pulls down billboards promoting the activities of the group. An LGBT billboard mounted on the Accra-Tema motorway stretch has sparked anger among some Ghanaians, although the sponsors of the billboard are yet to be identified. Proponents of the bill have given a 24-hour ultimatum for the billboard to be pulled down.
We are by this calling on the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Dampare Ekufu, to immediately, within the next 24 hours, carry out the necessary security operations to ensure that this billboard, which is an affront to the 1992 Constitution, is taken down in conjunction with the MCE for the area. Failure to take action, as citizens, we will take action as enjoined by our Constitution to defend the Constitution. However, we believe that law enforcement may not have seen this for whatever reason, and so we are drawing their attention to it, and we believe that 24 hours is good enough time. The group called LGBTQ+ Rights have publicly on a Ghanaian media station, Joy FM, announced that they sponsored and put out this bill. The persons behind that organization are known. Their phone numbers are on their Facebook page. The IGP must, as a matter of urgency, invite them for questioning and for them to answer why they have sponsored this. I do not believe that the state will sit back if a billboard was put up supporting terrorism or money laundering as a way of life. This is an affront to Section 104 of our Criminal Offences Act, which frowns on bestiality.
If the state agencies respond well, then that will curb it. And we are continuous and we're resolute about it. That's why we're appealing to this government, especially this current government, because the NPP government won on the mantra of the battle is the Lord's. And the president puts out his faith in the Lord out to all of us. And that's beautiful. But you see, it is important that we enforce the matters that are counter to God's will. That's very important. So there is a higher spiritual obligation on the members of parliament of the ruling government to ensure that the bill is passed. 2, the institutions of state that are under the control of the ruling government, like the Inspector General of Police, the BNI, all the state institutions and the MPs for this particular area, everybody stands together to oppose what is happening.
The Honorable Kwame Enyimbedu is the chairman of my committee. We'll be on recess for 7 weeks. He refused to call a meeting for us to consider this bill. Meanwhile, we have 167 petitions. We've not considered more than 30. So we still have over 100 memos and petitions regarding this matter to consider. But our standing order says that when referrals are made to committees, it shouldn't last more than 3 weeks. If 3 months, if you want extension of time, you ask the speaker to do so for you. So even the 3 months rule has been breached. So we are asking, is he committed to doing this or he's not? If he's not, he should resign. He should leave the committee for another to come and chair the committee for the work to be done. I am a member of the committee. Who authorized him to hold indoor meetings? He may be the chairman, but he doesn't decide for the committee. So he has been holding his private meetings with the people. That is why some of us have the strongest opinion that it appears.
And my colleague Elvis Andor is at the site where the billboard has been erected and joins us on phone. Hello, good afternoon, Elvis. What can you report from that particular stretch where the billboard has been erected? Hello, Elvis.
Hello, Bill. Hello.
Great, I can hear you now. Okay, so tell us what exactly is happening there right now.
At the billboard that has sparked controversy and began a conversation today, and this billboard has to do with the LGBTQIA plus billboard that has been mounted to create awareness and also mark the celebration of the queer all Ghanaians, and we are expected to be treated equal no matter where we are from or who. That is what is called freedom, and beneath it they've written hashtag we are all Ghanaians. And this billboard is actually to, according to sources or according to those who mounted it, they have indicated that the billboard is actually to sensitize Ghanaian populace that they should tolerate the sexual differences among the community, that they are treated fairly amidst brutalities that is meted out to some of their friends who are caught in the act. So this is closer to the junction where you divert or take. Now, there's been some concerns raised by people around the area that they are not so happy with what is happening and are calling for government intervention, that government should from this area because the country does not accept it. All the government should come clear as to whether or not the issue about same-sex relationship or legalized in the country. Yesterday we had an interaction with one of the activists, and he indicated that they are not perturbed about what is happening in Parliament on whether it can be able to change the economic fortune of the country by.
And that was my colleague Elvis Andor bringing us up to speed as to what is exactly is happening at the site where the billboard has been erected. Now, still on this, former head of Amnesty International Ghana, Robert Amwafo, is also joining us via Zoom for his take on this. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Have you seen the billboard, and what do you make of that? Hello? Hello? Robert, I'll need you to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, sorry. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, it's quite worrying that people react in such quite barbaric and uneducated way when they see such a billboard. I think that members of parliament leaving their offices purposely to go and stand by a billboard to do such a video is unnecessary and unwanted. The various statements that were made are all out of ignorance. I think that as you see on the billboard, it's important that we look at the message on the billboard and not shoot the people who are putting the billboard out. Okay. So for me, I think that let's look at the message and let's not think about what who is putting it there. Does the message matter? That is what I am looking at.
Robert, I mean, the people who put up the billboard have come out to say that indeed it is them, and we know that they are the proponents of the LGBTQ, activities in the country. Now, the matter is still in Parliament being talked about, and this happens. Isn't that, really not a good thing from the proponents of, the activities of LGBTQ in the country?
First of all, let's remember that these people are not some people. According to the Constitution, as at now, they have the right to express themselves. So if they put a billboard out and they're expressing themselves, I don't think in any way the billboard being there is against anybody. What the parliamentarians are doing now is just an infringement or a call for an infringement on their rights. They're expressing themselves. Have they caused any damage? By putting the billboard up with that message, have they caused any crime? By saying that Ghanaians should respect one another and love one another, notwithstanding who you are? That is the question that will ask the people who are standing in the sun at that time, unnecessarily spending government time doing such a thing. I think that it's important that, like I said, we are saying that people are human beings. This law is unnecessary. First of all, there is no point where I can't express myself as a human being if I feel a particular way. If anybody now, the members of parliament are standing there expressing themselves and their displeasure. If anybody is saying that what they are doing is wrong, is that something that we should all do? It's okay.
But isn't
express your view.
That
you don't
expression,
agree
Robert,
that they have signed.
Isn't that expression of freedom, as was seen on the billboard, about sensitizing people, or trying to educate people on trying to be open to everybody, and indirectly trying to promote LGBTQ activities, which is not yet accepted in the country?
What is LGBT activities? I mean, when people speak about promoting LGBT activities, what is LGBT activities? Ghanaians are human beings. Everybody is a human being. People express themselves. Persons with disability put up billboards to call for respect for everybody. Women call for respect for everybody. Children call for the respect of everybody. So what are we talking about here? I mean, if we are looking at people who are human beings calling for respect for their rights, or calling for people to respect everybody, what is wrong with that? I think that we are just raising unnecessary quagmire around this issue.
Okay.
I think that the members of parliament are just raising issues that are not necessary around the bill, and calling names of the chairman, which is unnecessary, and using every means they find to make this issue an issue. Which is not an issue.
Okay, Robert, you
So
hold on.
If the billboard is there, has it fallen on anyone or harmed anybody in any way?
Robert, hold on. Let me get back to my colleague, Elvis Ando, who is at the site where the billboard was erected, and he's been speaking to some Ghanaians. Elvis, if you can hear me, what have you been hearing from Ghanaians around the site where the billboard has been erected?
These are some individuals who are around this area where the billboard has been mounted, and we would like to find out from them as to what Metro TV. So for the sake of the language, we will be doing three and I'll be translating. So me pacho tama yebe mount ye billboard yi wa han uhunye pacho me hu na usu hunye me hu kwa na me pacho sisie na mo hu no edien na e ka kire mo ye ke kan say
hwan minim se sitie eti no wo say literally
saying that he is not in support of the LGBTQIA
for condemn and cry, because me myself I say if the president give order to come put this on board, they say no. If the president will say make the condemn these things. So if the president say make the condemn things right, so that we are free. Man and man cannot stay for this Ghana.
Okay.
Okay. So
me pacho won swear wono board ya yedi aba besi ha no weni je ho ana say weni je ho ana den na wo ka. So bibe bisa say so be man na so ba ne ba kakra.
Abi said yempe o man no mu. Sa no manu yempe o man no mu. Yentwem yempe kura.
Okay, so that was my colleague Elvis Ando speaking to some Guineans there. Let's get back onto Zoom with Robert. Hello, Robert. Sam George and the others who were at the site today, the members of parliament, are calling for the IGP to pull down the billboard that has been erected. Are you hoping that the IGP would not pay heed to that, or what do you make of that?
I think, like I said before, it's unnecessary, it's uncalled for. This is clearly another stance of suppressing expression of individuals. And so for me, I think it's unnecessary to call the IGP to do such a thing when there are very important issues standing by that we need to pay attention to. This is clearly a civic space that is open, and the need to respect the right of every individual. Article 21 of our Constitution gives us every right to express ourselves as Ghanaians. So if a certain group of Ghanaians are expressing themselves, why do we have to say we are pulling it down? Then we have to be pulling down all sorts of billboards because some group of people do not agree with a particular thing that somebody is trying to.
Okay.
There. Yeah.
Robert, thank you so much for joining us here. Robert Amwafo is the former head of Amnesty International Ghana. Now, joining us on Zoom is the Executive Director of Citizen Movement Against Corruption, Edem Sinano. Good afternoon, and many thanks for joining us on Newsbeat. First and foremost, what do you make of this fraction in Parliament over the passage of the Proper Sexual and Human Value Bill?
Let me first correct the title. I think for this purpose, it's the chair of the Advocates for Christ Ghana, chair for Advocates for Christ Ghana.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that given the furore that we had last year and the fact that we then proceeded to Parliament to try and make sure we pass a bill dealing with this issue, any group having the effrontery to come and put this in the public space was just calling our attention to do something. And I'm not too surprised that the coalition and the parliamentarians have taken up the issue. I think that it's in order. We have categorically indicated, the CDT report shows that 93% of Ghanaians say this is a no, no, no. We don't want our children or the next generation becoming people who get themselves caught up in this. So, it's a good initiative by the coalition.
Okay. Now, in Parliament, where the debate over this bill is supposed to be taking place, it looks like it's taking longer than it should be. Shouldn't they have already gone into a certain extent of finishing the debate on this particular one?
Yeah, that's a very curious situation because ideally, the parliamentary process is that the discussions, the public hearings should have taken about 3 months. We are now 1 year into the discussions. If it had been about 6 months, it probably would not raise too much of eyebrows. But 1 year later, begins to raise eyebrows and make people think that somebody's intentionally stalling the process. I think that the chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee ought to get his act together and bring this thing back to the parliamentary space so that the entire parliament can take decisions to move the process forward. Otherwise, with this addition of the billboard, it's going to start raising tensions amongst the various parties who are really concerned about this issue.
Okay, so you agree with the call on the IGP to pull down the billboard?
Yes, it's an unnecessary tension raiser. I mean, you know that over 90% of Ghanaians have a position on this matter. And then you go and erect billboards when they are saying we don't want this to be around. I mean, we could have done without it. There are many issues that we could have. That's probably the place where I agree with Robert Amwafo that the other issues we would like to focus on. So remove those boards so they don't serve as a source of tension.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adam Senanu, for speaking to us here on Newsbeat. You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television, and we are live across our social media platforms and also on DSTV channel 277. Now, away from that, as part of the processes leading to the election of national executive officers of the ruling New Patriotic Party, the party has actually opened nominations for prospective aspirants to pick up their nomination forms, which started today, June 8, and will end on June 12. The filing of the nomination forms will come off between June 13 to 15, 2022 at the party headquarters here in Accra. And my colleague Frederick Clarence Williams has pitched camp at the MPP headquarters and joins us on Zoom for more on this. Hello, Frederick. Okay, he joins us via phone. Hello, Frederick. Good afternoon. Thank you. What can you report from the headquarters of the NPP?
So far, when I came here around 8 o'clock in the morning. But since the opening of the nomination form, 25 people so far have just picked their form. With the likes of John Bwedu, Jemfua, Professor Ameyakunfi, and the others. Just yesterday, 22 picked their forms. And then today, we have only 3 that has picked their form. But when we look at the situation, we were not allowed to enter into the premises of the headquarters. We are only loitering around the street, making sure that we get the people, those who are picking their form, to speak to. But I can tell you that the process is going on smoothly. Everything is of course. But we are here to see some few candidates who have shown the interest to pick their form. But so far, I think so good, my brother.
You have fans coming around the party headquarters. What's the euphoria like today?
Say it again.
I was asking that, how's the euphoria around the place? Do you have fans of the aspirants there?
The 22 that have, the 25 that have picked their form, they are not coming here in person. They came. They allow up. They send people to pick their form for them. They are not coming here in person. Because, looking at the situation, the euphoria is not as good as you may be expected. Because at the end of the day, if they come here in person, that is where you see the euphoria. It will be more intense. But because they are sending people to pick their form, it's a normal situation over here.
Okay. All right, Frederick, thank you for speaking to us here on Newsbeat. We'll come back to you later for more on that. Now, away from the NPP, now the former ambassador of the United Kingdom, Kwesi Awoy, has said that patriotism, which in the past was a dominant thing among Ghanaians, have become deficient in recent time. In the second part of an exclusive interview with Annie Ifuampo, the former ambassador said Ghanaians now think about their families first and relegate national issues that require patriotism to the background.
Governance should be a matter of continuity. When you have 4 years, according to the Constitution, when your time comes, you go, the next guy comes. But they follow that critically laid down policies and programs that inure to the benefit of the development of this country. If we deviate from that, then we are not building Mother Ghana. So what we saw at the Goko evacuation, which continued until we entered the constitutional regime, has suddenly changed. And I said it the other day, the change is that we are no longer nationalistic. Ghanaians have lost their patriotism. Ghana does not matter. Individuals matter most.
Still watching Newsbeat here. We're taking a break. When we come back, we do some more stories. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. Let's do some health-related stories. And some residents in the eastern region of the country say they are unaware of some cases of monkeypox in the region. According to them, they have no knowledge of the disease.
Okay, so I've heard in the news of the outbreak of the monkeypox. However, I've not really delved into it so much. And as it is now, I've not also seen anyone contracting that such a disease. So we just await on the government and other health professionals to sensitize the public on the disease. That's all I can see.
I don't hear of such news, but I think during COVID-19, a whole lot of measures was put in place, like wearing of nose masks and then social distancing and all that. I don't really know much about the monkeypox, but I think if there are measures that we can do to protect ourselves from spreading it, then maybe there should be sensitization and all of that stuff, so that we can also know how to protect ourselves.
Thank you. What's your
And Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Insurance Authority, Bernard Okoboy, is urging Ghanaians to take personal hygiene seriously, as it is one of the means of preventing the spread of the monkeypox disease. He added that kissing, hugging and engaging in sexual intercourse are all means of spreading the disease.
It was first isolated in monkeys, which are being used for research, and I think the first time they recorded it in human beings was somewhere in 1970 in Dr. Congo, that's Democratic Republic of Congo. As we speak, there's been about 5 cases reported in Ghana, and they normally appear like, the symptoms are like fever, joint ache, and then usually you start to see boils or blisters on your skin. All I can tell the public is that you got to keep your hygiene very good. Usually the general rules is that if your hygiene is good, you are less likely to come across such diseases. It's a zoonotic disease. It means it's normally harbors in animals. So when your condition is very filthy, you are likely to come into contact. The second thing is that unlike COVID, which is highly contagious, this one, the good news is that it's not too contagious.
Okay.
But still, I'm choosing my words.
I was going to ask whether we should panic. I mean,
honestly, there's no need for panic. It is gotten through close contact. Close meaning that body to body, either through hugging, kissing, coming into contact with fluid from the other person, or exhaled air. Close, when you are in a closed space like this, air conditioned. So, I mean, it's not strictly respiratory like COVID. This one can be spread through sex, body contact, and other things. So, the advice is to keep your hygiene well, especially for people who are strangers. Strangers means that they've come from other populations. You are in a company with drivers who have come from Burkina, from people who have flown from other countries. You have to keep your...
Away from that to some other stories, and the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has indicated that government's aggressive afforestation drive this year will seek to plant some 20 million trees on June 10, 2022, and we'll be speaking to the chairman in charge of the project. But before that, here is a report on how the project started.
The Green Ghana Day was instituted last year by the government under the auspices of the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources as part of an aggressive afforestation and reforestation agenda to restore the depleting forest cover of the country. The Green Ghana initiative, which officially commenced on Friday, June 11, 2021, saw Ghanaians planting over 7 million tree seedlings. Deputy Minister of Land and Natural Resources, Benito Owusu-Bill, after an evaluation and monitoring exercise was carried out, declared an 85% survival rate for the seedlings planted. The government subsequently disclosed that an amount of 12,796,615 cedis was used to procure over 5 million trees, including fruit and ornamentals, that were planted nationwide under the project. The 2022 edition of the Green Ghana Day is under the theme Mobilizing for a Greener Future, with a target to plant at least 20 million tree seedlings on the 2022 Green Ghana Day, which is the 10th June 2022.
This year, we've decided to plant 10 million seedlings in on-reserve compartments and plant 10 other million seedlings across the country, in schools, in church compounds, mosques, on the streets, in our homes, and in public areas of our country. So we are planting 10 million in forest reserves and planting 10 million across the country. We are calling on all Ghanaians, all residents of Ghana, and all persons who will be visiting Ghana to join forces with the government and join forces with the Ministry of Lands and Forests Lands and Natural Resources, and the Forestry Commission for us to be able to make this noble undertaking and this momentous undertaking a resounding victory.
Now let's get onto the phones and speak to the Deputy Minister for Land and Forestry, Benito Osubio, who is the chairman of the 2022 Green Ghana Planning Committee. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. With this project, which is set to start tomorrow, the planting exercise, what is the state of the 2021 seedlings that were planted?
Okay. Thank you for calling me, and also a good afternoon to your listeners as well. Yes, in 21, we targeted to plant 5 million, and with the support and the help of the entire Ghanaian population, we were able to do 7 million. Yes, we set up a monitoring and evaluating team, which has also been going around to see how they are doing. But then, with the support and the help of Ghanaians and also Forestry Commission, yes, I'll say an appreciable percentage of the seedlings that were planted have been successful.
Well, I can understand to save the species. Okay, hello, sir. I want to ask that how much is government spending on the exercise that is starting tomorrow?
Government so far, as I speak now, is released 6 million Ghana that government has released west. We are planting 20 million. Government has released 6 million cities west. Yes. So that tells you that what you're doing, I'll say, all the necessary efforts to ensure that the amount, although is woefully inadequate, we, through our own ingenuity, are going to make sure that with the support of Ghanaians, will be able to achieve that. So, to get involved, including you, and then your studio as well. Everybody must get involved tomorrow. What is important is that at the end of the day, what we plant will be something that will be beneficial and worth it. It is going to help to ensure that we are able to rate of deforestation.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for talking to us this afternoon. Of course, the planting exercise is starting tomorrow. Now, we have been joined in studio by Malik Mino Herrera, an environmentalist with waste segregation and composting movement, for more on this. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I mean, with your research and being part of a movement like this, how much of our forest reserves do you think this would help?
Yeah, let me just break it down for children, because mostly we work with children and then the mothers. So the forest reserve that has been lost, the forest cover, we've lost about 1.6 million hectares of forest already.
1.6?
Yes, million hectares, yeah, already. So whatever is going to be planted, even though it's just a tip of the iceberg, it's a good step in the right direction. Simply because regimes that have come and gone have also attempted to do similar things, but it did not succeed. For instance, in Rawlings' time, they said that we should plant, if you cut one tree, plant 2. If that had been in force, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are now.
Okay.
In Jacob Ford's time, Jacob Bush and learned this same thing that we are doing in Ga East and Ga South area. But they are now cutting those trees down and building. So this one that have come again is good, but it's just a small step in the right direction. All we want to say is that it should be sustained for the next generation to benefit from it, so that the SDG goal 13 can be achieved by 2030. It's just about 7 years to achieve that.
Okay. So Malik will be giving us some more details on this in a bit, but you can watch us on Facebook. It is at Metro TV Ghana and also across all our platforms. Malik, let me come back to you. How are you going to be part of this to help so that it's not just about, you know, the government's doing this bit, but as a CSO, you also be part of this?
Good. Last year, when it started, that is the first edition, we partnered with Tema West Municipal Assembly to plant 10,000 seedlings at the Ramsar site with the foreign missions. They came, it was successful. This year, we're going to repeat it, but because of the news of the Ramsar site being taken over in the Achimota Forest, the Tema West MCA and ourselves with the Lions Club, Rotary Club, have agreed that we are not going to do anything on the Ramsar side until that issue has been resolved. Because as I'm talking to you now, when the wildlife, there's an organization in charge of protecting the Ramsar site. But in the middle of the night, when they are not gone, they bring bulldozers and even spray the wetland so that they can fill it and build on it. So what we're doing now is that it is now time for enforcement and the legislature to solve the problem. However, we are also encouraging people that once the tree planting is going on, we now have a lot of more plastics than the trees that we are planting. So we are encouraging the student. It's the mango season. So when you finish eating the mango, and then the sachet, or you use the sachet water, compost it, and then use the same plastic that you use, that might have ended up in the sea, to plant. So that next year, government will not come and say they need 6 million to plant trees. Because at the end of the day, you are teaching the children to now start nursing it themselves. And then we'll be able to reduce the costs of taking money from government coffers to do things.
How important, finally, is it for you that species that have these forests as their inhabitants would be able to live on and not, get into an extinction because of the clearing of, some of these forest zones, and then these planting exercises are taking place to make sure that we have them still in there?
So as I'm talking to you now, you are breathing. This monkey is also breathing. So we are interdependent. We cannot say that we want to do away with and clear vegetation. Between Achimota Forest to Kintampo, there are also forests there. So it tells you that even if somebody wants land or compensation, something can be done. Secondly, if you remember the Weja Dam, where we get the water, they had to cut trees so that they power the turbines in the 1920s, Gorgeous era. So it depends on the trees. But the most important thing is that once we are cutting, the rate at which we are cutting should not be more than the rate at which we are using it, so that this species, nobody can, they also need the trees and the rest. And finally, I want to say that if we are not handling our sanitation well, then we are hurting ourselves.
Thank you very much, Malik, for joining us this afternoon. So Malik is an environmentalist talking on the planting exercise that is set to take place tomorrow. You're still watching Newsbeat. Up next, we've got business news, and Winston Taki is standing by with that. Hello, Winston.
Hello. Yeah, it's time to bring you business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki, indeed. Right back after this. And now to a false business story. Banks are not supposed to charge maintenance fees on savings account. This is according to the head of conduct supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Augustine Donko. This has been abolished according to him. He said this at the financial literacy program for the Ghana Immigration Service.
As part of efforts to ensure that many Ghanaians have the ability to understand and effectively apply various financial skills, the Bank of Ghana organized a program for the Ghana Immigration Service in line with the Banks and Specialized Depositors Institutions Act, which mandates the central bank create awareness to improve the interest of consumers of financial products and services. Head of Conduct Supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Augustine Donko, spoke on some unfair charges and fees by financial institutions in the country which are illegal.
Any charges or fees that are deemed to be inappropriate, we do not allow it. So, for instance, a typical one is maintenance fees on savings account. Okay, we believe that it has no place in the system. So, for instance, maintenance fee, it is abolished. In Ghana, we say that no savings account should attract maintenance fee. And then another example is over-the-counter withdrawal from an account, holder's account. This is the way I want to have access to my account, and we think it is not appropriate to deny them.
He further explained some rights that protect the interest of the consumer.
Whilst dealing with the institutions, if you are not happy or satisfied with any activity, okay, it is your right, or you have a right to complain to the financial service provider itself for them to resolve the issue for you. And where the resolution is not done, or it's not done to your satisfaction, you can actually escalate it to Bank of Ghana. If you take a loan and you want to pay it ahead of time, it is your right. The law grants that. If you take a loan and within the first 5 days, you change your mind, you decide that, after all, I think I don't need this loan again. Within the first 5 days, you write to the institution to notify them, and on condition that you have not already accessed the fund from your account, you can return the money to them without suffering any charge.
Augustine Donko believes these programs will further contribute to financial inclusion across the country.
Now, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, says the opportunities offered by the African Continental Free Trade Area are enormous and has therefore called on Ghanaian entrepreneurs to capitalize on the open market of about 1.3 billion people across the continent.
During this period of global shortages, to boost access to domestic raw materials, particularly grains, government has, since the beginning of this year, imposed restrictions on the export of grains, including rice, maize, and soya. This is in addition to the substantial investments already made in the agricultural sector, which are aimed at increasing agricultural productivity and yields. One of the main challenges to our industrialization drive is the lack of access to expanded markets. Economies of scale are important for industrialization, but with small, fragmented markets in Africa, industrial development has always been a challenge. West Africa's population of some 350 million people and the adoption of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, to create a regional market in ECOWAS have been reinforced by the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, whose secretariat is located here in Accra, which represents a market of some 1.3 billion people with a combined GDP of some 3 trillion United States dollars. These regional and continental markets provide considerable opportunities for value-added products manufactured by entrepreneurs in Ghana.
Let's now bring you an update on how the Ghana cedi is faring against global currencies and also the prices of commodities across the world. For business here on Newsbeat, my name is Winston Taki. John Quarter will bring you sports after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. My name is Faye John Quarter, and it's time for sports. The Deputy Director General of the National Sports Authority, Abdul Majid Bawa, has called on the sporting public, especially followers of football, to welcome the latest e-ticketing system. According to the sports administrator, e-ticketing system is the best way to generate revenue for development.
I think that one of the best things that has happened to the football seasons this particular year is the introduction of the e-ticketing. And I must congratulate His Excellency, the Vice President, and the Minister for Youth and Sports, and the Board of the National Sports Authority for giving us the support to be able to implement this e-ticketing. For me, there are three key important things that we should learn as stakeholders in the game. Number one, the e-ticketing is enabling the clubs to be able to determine their membership level. And by this, they'll be able to use it as a marketing tool to gain sponsorship. That is number one. Number two, fake ticketing is being cleared out. Many times, you see people going to print their own ticket to come and introduce it. And many times, after
Majid Bawa is the Deputy Director General of the National Sports Authority, urging fans to welcome e-ticketing as a way of regenerating money for the country. Let's focus on African Cup of Nations qualifiers. In Juba, that's the capital of South Sudan, the Sudanese will welcome Mali. Then in Gibraltar, that is Burundi, they will play against the men from Yaoundé. We're talking about Cameroon. Guinea-Bissau will be at home against Sao Tome. Nigeria, they will play against Sierra Leone. In Addis Ababa, it will be the Pharaohs going over there. Then in Conakry, Guinea will welcome Malawi. Lesotho will be at home against the men from Ivory Coast. They've qualified already. This will just be academic purpose. Then in Rabat, it will be Morocco taking on the South Africans. There you have it over there. Then yesterday in Kampala, Uganda drew 1-1 with Niger, whilst in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania sat at home and they were beaten by Algeria. In Congo, they beat Gabon by a goal to nil, whilst no, I think it's Gambia rather. Then Gabon drew goalless with Mauritania. In Khartoum, Sudan managed to beat DR Congo. Then Cotonou, it was Mozambique, the men from Maputo, that won by a goal to nil. Let's go to Europe and find out what is going on out there. Portugal, they will be at Lisbon against Czech Republic. In Switzerland, Spain will go there, whilst Oslo will be at home against Slovenia. Stockholm, it will be Sweden playing against Serbia, whilst in Athens, it will be Greece taking on Cyprus. Kosovo will forget every trouble they have at home and they will play against Northern Ireland. Gibraltar will take on Bulgaria, whilst Northern Macedonia, remember that they powered, not Chelsea, they powered Italy out of the World Cup. They will play the men from Tbilisi. We're talking about Georgia, whilst in Malta, Estonia will visit them. Well, that's it for sports, and Aya is looking splendid. She's ready for showbiz.
Now, renowned sound engineer Wei Yoten has disclosed that artists having their songs on TikTok that does not always amount to success. Speaking on Entertainment Review, he mentioned that if an artist assumes that only TikTok influencers can make songs hits, it's a disservice to themselves.
If you have it on TikTok, that is beautiful. All these TikTok influencers, they blow the song. That is a plus. Now, this is where I believe most people get comfortable. Oh, the song he blew. He blow, he blow, he blow. Because you go and looks at the hashtags and how many videos is that on it and go like, Charlie, I get almost like 10,000 videos, 5,000 videos. Yes, these are people, they are just influencers. They are trying to gather some energy around your song. So once that energy is gathered, what do you do as a person? You check out the algorithms and know where the stronghold of the song is, and then you do the follow-up. Because if you are to leave the song that TikTok has blown it, so let me just leave it the way it is, then you will be doing a disservice to yourself, the artist, and the song. So all that I'm trying to say is, when social media blows us, let's not just leave it, because the next moment, another trend is coming.
Wei Yoten further stated that working with your core fans on the ground can generate more achievements as far as music production is concerned.
When I say grounds, when I say get to the grounds, you realize in my submission on Facebook, I said you get to the grounds.
Yeah.
With your radio, your TV, and all those things. When I say grounds, it's not necessarily Ghana. Once you need to touch base with your core fans, you need to touch base with them. And it is all about being on the grounds working. Because you know, when it comes to social media, we are all in our rooms, hiding behind our phones and throwing. But you know, when you get onto the grounds, it has a different feeling altogether. One, when you get onto the grounds, some things you say generate talkability. It generates writing. It generates radio discussions and all those things. And the more you move around, the more you get that talkability, and the more every weekend by weekend, radio and TV is discussing it. So moving to the grounds is very necessary. And we all can attest to the fact that since George went to Nigeria, came back and all that, it has been amazing. Now, Buga has taken over sugarcane, but because he touched base with the ordinary person to really kind of have that talkability about him, doing renditions, doing a live version, almost coming out with a music video and all that, it becomes an endless giveaway for the fans.
Now, away from that, the second edition of the Green Ghana Day is set for June 10, 2022, and Ghanaian dancehall artist Livingstone Setekla, widely known as Stonebwoy, has thrown his weight behind the 2022 Green Ghana project. Here's a video of Stonebwoy encouraging everyone to join.
People, you know, as the saying goes, when the last tree dies, the last man dies. That's why I'm here to give you this very vital information. There is an ongoing Green Ghana campaign which is aiming at planting 20 million trees nationwide. And I want you to be a part of this and join us to make it happen. Visit your district offices or the Forestry Commission offices nationwide to pick up seedlings so we all go planting come the 10th of June. Get ready, and I'm going to meet you somewhere in the road. Bless you.
Are you ready?
It's all on entertainment. My name is Anaya Tanobwache. Desi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanaya, for bringing us entertainment. Up next is international news. And the U.S. House of Representatives has voted through a series of measures regulating the sale of guns, but which are defined to fail in the Senate. The new measures would bar sales of semi-automatic weapons to people under 21 and ban large capacity magazines. And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. My name is Desmond Okrekodans. We'll be back at 4 with News Flash and 7 p.m. with News Night. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.